Welcome back to another episode of Locky Top Sports. I'm joined here with Josh.
What's up, guys?
What's going on? A lot of different things to talk about this week. We'll touch on some college football. The start of the college basketball season's coming up. College football playoffs. And then we'll get into our best bets for the week. I want to start by going over the Kentucky game. My thoughts were I kind of went how I thought it would go. Not really a decisive win for Tennessee, 10-point win on the score sheet, but it was a lot closer for most of the game. Josh, your thoughts?
Bad, man. Man, that first half, it was really a struggle to kind of get through. I was in a dark place the first 30 minutes of football last Saturday when we were playing Kentucky because I really thought coming out of the open week we really would have had a good game plan. We'd have been focused, we'd have been locked in. It's kneeling at night. It's spooky Rocky Top. You got the black jerseys. You got all those things, and it's Kentucky. Black jerseys playing the guys with black lung from the coal mines. I was thinking like, here we go. This is going to be Nico's coming out party. He's going to have a big game. It didn't really pan out that way. Not Nico's fault either. Because he actually played pretty well, all things considered. I think he was like 28 to 38, something like that. Almost 300 yards passing, and a touchdown to Kitzelman there in the little improv play. He was trying to get his little Pat Mahomes on, but yeah, man, it was really concerning there in the first half. And then we had our field goal kicker, good old Max, coming out there, and there's got to be a change up there, I think. Or at least open it up for competition and let Josh Turbeville have a crack back at field goal kicking, because since the Alabama game, Max hasn't looked very hot. He missed some during the Bama game. Then he goes out and he misses 3 in a row versus Kentucky. So I think that's not really like a aberration. I think that's more of there's something wrong there in his head. But one thing that has stayed consistent, and that's Tennessee's defense. Tennessee's defense came out. Kentucky took the ball right down the field there. We had our second team in, I think, the majority of that opening drive, if I remember. But then they got down there in the goal line and went for it on fourth down and came away with 0. So that was huge to kind of keep them out of the end zone there in the first quarter. They did come out and score a little bit there in the first half, and it was just a slugfest there. I think it was 10-3 at halftime, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think 10-7 or 10-3.
Or no, it was 14-3. 14-3. No, excuse me. Yeah, because Kentucky kicked the field goal and had that first quarter touchdown. Then Tennessee scored a touchdown in the second quarter. So I think it was 10-7 going into the half. But it was frustrating. But Tennessee comes out in the third quarter, scores 2 touchdowns, and then closes the fourth quarter out there with that final scrum touchdown, which was pretty cool for Dylan Sampson to see him break the all-time touchdown record for a single season at Tennessee, a record that's been around for a very long time. So shout out to him, and that was a team effort. And if you go back and you watch that play, you can see that really the scrum there, Nico got involved. And sorry, I had a brain fart there, but Nico got involved there and was able to kind of push the pile. So you kind of like to see that from your quarterback. A lot of grit, a lot of love going on right there amongst the teammates trying to get Dylan Sampson. So you can see the brotherhood and I think the relationships in the locker room are vibes are high there. So but I will like to say Nico, man, going back to him, I think we saw a lot of good things out of the Kentucky game, especially in that second half. He really got going. Wasn't his fault. We had 3 touchdowns that were dropped. You got Kitzelman dropping one. You got Chaz Nimrod dropping one there in that little seam route that he had. I mean, if he would have caught that, dude, house call. And then there was another drop. I think it was Brazel. It was that long ball. It was almost like the one against Alabama, a little bit longer, but same kind of catch. That back shoulder, over the top kind of catch. Just couldn't hang on to it because when he hit the ground, it kind of bounced out. He landed right on top of it. So, I'll give him a pass a little bit there, but I still feel like it needed to be catched or it needed to be caught. Excuse me. You got to catch the ball when you're given those type of opportunities. So, but again, Nico probably would have had about a 400-yard game passing. So, what was your takeaways watching Nico play, man? I just feel like we saw him grow up a little bit there.
Yeah, definitely. Like it was a tougher game, I think, than the Tennessee originally expected. Like, first off, I would say that Kentucky offense sucks, but Kentucky defense is pretty decent. So good to see him play well against a relatively decent opponent. He seemed a little bit less worried about how things were going on. A lot more poise that we saw in the first half of the season, like when we were playing Kent State and running up the score.
Onside kicking and everything else.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I think we saw, like, there's a movie how Stella got her groove back. Nico got the groove back.
Yeah. Nico got his groove back a little bit.
Yeah, like I think he had the swagger. So I think that's all good to see, right? Because we'll talk about it very soon, but we got Mississippi State, and then we got like our season versus Georgia coming up. So we want Nico to be on a high point. And I think he's playing to the level of to a higher level. Initially we thought, like, okay, maybe this guy is going to be Heisman after the first 2 weeks, but after we played SEC opponents, like, kind of tempered that expectation a bit. But he's playing a lot better than he was. Second half of the Bama game on. Really, this guy is a second half guy. That's what I know.
I think the offense is second half team, but I think, objectively, I think that first half against Kentucky, he played really well. He just wasn't getting any help from the supporting cast.
I do want to touch on that a little bit. Like, that is the major thing I saw, is that he doesn't have a trusted wide receiver, right? Like,
no, we don't have that go-to guy. Like kind of like when we had Jalen Hyatt. We knew Hendon Hooker was going to that. He was going to 11 every time. You know what I mean? Like, needed a big play. Fuck it. Jalen's down there somewhere. I'm just throw that bitch up and it's going to get caught,
Right. And then my last 2 points, not necessarily about Nico. Shout out Dylan Sampson. Like, he is saving our season. Like 6 yards a carry, another huge performance, 2 touchdowns, 125 plus yards. Really, he's the person you could depend on. Like Nico playing well. But if you want to close out a game, he's our Kobe right now. So he's our Dalton Connect. He's the one that, I feel like the offense and Heupel relies on to get things done. And really, it's nice that he can do it in the fourth quarter. And I think that's a lot to do with our defense. We're never really down by that much. So the run game is always in play.
Like, it's like the ace card that Josh Heupel has. Yeah.
Right. This is like the first time I've seen that with Tennessee teams in my like 9 or 10 years of watching, where it's like, okay, we're never down by 25 or 3 touchdowns. It's always within 10 or 14 or something. So you can always run the ball. And I feel like that's our identity this year. We're a power run game and we're a good defensive team. And I just want to,
Yeah, I think our last blowout was against the team with the G on their helmet last year.
yeah.
But our
And
defense wasn't anything close to what it is this year, last year. I mean, we were straight Swiss cheese last year.
Mhm. I do want to talk about the G team a little bit. Like the line already came out. It's Georgia minus 16.5 at home, 7:30 kickoff. Like,
Wolf.
holy shit. What do you think about that?
Well, I'll tell you, man, I was down there 2 years ago when it was number 1 versus number 2. Down there in the rain. It was pretty insufferable. And that was, that was a 3:30 CBS game.
Mhm.
And those Georgia boys and girls, they were at full throat, man. I'll tell you, it was an impressive environment, on the road. The thing that concerns me and why I could see the logic in the line is, one, we know Josh Heupel's not very good on the road. Let's just call a spade, right?
Right.
So you have that. Then you have we start very, very slow,
Mhm.
right? And then thirdly, you let that crowd get going, and it's just, how hard it is. As like I said, the 3:30 game was hard. Those idiots will be drinking all day long, and they will be, they will be hydrated. They will be fully liquored up to really kind of do the same thing we did to Bama. Even though that was an earlier kick, that was the 3:30 or the 3 o'clock game. But I would say it would be close to like the way we were there against Bama a couple weeks back. The environment will be hostile, probably borderline dangerous down there between the hedges. So for Tennessee to be successful, they've got to flip the way that they've been all year long. They have got to come out there. They've got to if I'm Josh, I'm taking the ball. Like I'm not, if I win the coin toss, I'm not deferring. I'm taking the ball and I'm going down there and I'm scoring. That's the only way. You got to go down there. You can't start with that 3-and-out shit. Is you let Georgia start on you, get that environment going. It's just going to be downhill. Because I remember we came out 2 years ago, got the ball, and we turned it over. They came out, and then Stetson Bennett ran around and did the diving touchdown. Did hey, call me, because Tennessee students got his cell phone number and was calling him, sending him a lot of bad messages about what they were going to do to his mom and his sister. And it went all downhill from there. We could never get Uncle Mo back on our side. So start quick, start fast, start early, score on first possession, or it's going to be a long night. I thought about going. I know the Devil likes to go down to Georgia, but the Devil's staying in North Carolina for this game, buddy. Can't do it.
Yeah, got to be safe at home, just in case the Devil gets too cocky down there.
I can't, man. Devil can't go to Georgia this year, buddy. I just got to stay at the house.
All right. Coming up before Georgia, though, is Mississippi State. I think that this will be this is the SEC version of playing Kent State again.
Yeah, I would agree wholeheartedly.
Used to be playing Bama, but this year, used to be playing Vandy, but Vandy is a elite team now. So,
I would hold off on the word elite. I don't know if that's the adjective I would use to describe Vanderbilt.
I guess we'll find out at the end of the month who the king of Tennessee is. It's always been Tennessee. It's always been the T, but maybe it's the V this time.
No, bro, they don't even sound good.
Yeah, I mean, I think serious note, we should beat these guys by 4 to 5 touchdowns. Like, and if we don't, I think that's a huge problem. Like, I think we got to really worry about blasting these guys because the Devil's
I do
down
too.
there.
I do too. And walk me back here a little bit. If I get a little off the rails from what I'm about to say,
Mhm.
I really think because our defense has been so good, and I know anybody that's about to hear this might be the hottest take I've ever said on this show. Maybe walk me back. Our defense has been so great this year, so lights out. But I've sat there and I've watched us fuck around on offense all year long. Run. Okay, throw it to the left side or the right side on those screens. Run it again. Okay, take one or two deep shots per half, and then tunnel screen again. Then run. That's like so fucking vanilla. Not creative at all. Very predictable. Very just let the game come to us. Don't attack. Pretty conservative. Is Josh Heupel playing 4D chess? And he's just been running vanilla offense all year long because he knows he can count on his defense to bail him out. And he's just going to come out and let it loose against, Georgia in 2 weeks. And because I really think, with that narrative, I don't think we're going to see a huge explosion against Mississippi State. I think it's going to be more the Dylan Sampson show and just giving Nico easy reads, because there's not going to be a lot of effort that's going to have to be expended to beat them. We all have known that Georgia game has been circled but with the marker like 1,000 times, right? It's almost bleeding through the paper of the calendar, right? So what are your thoughts there? Do you think that there's any type of, truth to kind of what I'm saying or some reason to my logic?
I think we haven't seen UCF Josh Heupel in a long time.
No.
We haven't seen this like, okay, we're going to snap the ball 10 seconds after the play ran.
Maybe like Citrus Bowl last year might have been the last time.
Yeah, and nobody's been playing. Like, you're right, it's been very tight. Like, I don't know if I'd say conservative. I'd be like, okay, this guy is like, he understands his situation more, and he's playing a style we haven't seen him. I do wonder if that's because he doesn't trust the wide receivers, Josh. Like, that's my only thing is like, he doesn't know that, okay, these guys are going to show up and make the plays because that's the only reason why I think you're justified, because you can't play the UCF Josh version if you're going 3 and out, and they do go 3 and out a decent amount of time.
Sure. Like, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
There is some out there, and I would probably agree with them to a certain degree that he probably doesn't have a lot of trust in the wide receivers.
Mhm.
But then I would also argue we've got some guys, some dudes that we've not given a lot of run to.
Mike Matthews, where is he?
Mike Matthews. Like, I saw him maybe get 1 or 2 plays against Kentucky last week. And before that, I can't remember a time since Kent State. He went in there in the second half, got some run. He even got a touchdown from some garbage time there. But where is that guy? I don't think it's one of those situations where he's not ready to play. He's not athletically gifted enough to play. I mean, we look at the 17-year-old phenom, on Alabama's team, Smith, right?
Williams.
Williams, excuse me. Williams. And I had Smitty, their Heisman Trophy winner, yeah, on my mind. But that's what basically how that kid's been playing this year. But yeah, Ryan Williams. Like, if Ryan Williams can go out there and do what he's done this year, like, I don't know why Mike Matthews, who is a higher rated wide receiver, Can't be getting more run. So that's kind of in my mind what gives me the feeling that maybe Hype Daddy is maybe he's holding something back, you know?
Mhm.
Maybe he's gonna just, you know, riverboat gamble the entire night down in Georgia in 2 weeks. I don't want to overlook Mississippi State, but as you said, like, dude, that's Kent State in the SEC. You know what I mean? And not for nothing, Mississippi State's head coach is Jeff Lebby. Jeff Lebby was an assistant under Josh Heupel for, I mean, his entire career. I mean, he was the OC at UCF with Josh before he left, and it's just one of those things, man. Like Josh Heupel he's the kingmaker there for Jeff Lebby, and I think he knows what Jeff's going to run. Jeff's already kind of chummed the waters too. He gave the whole, yeah, Josh Heupel's like the greatest human being I've ever known. Like I give everything I have to him. Like kind of already waving the white. Like he knows, like Mississippi State's coming up to Knoxville to lick the white dog shit and then go back to Starkville.
Yeah, hopefully we won't be hearing that much cowbell this week at all.
No, man,
A lot of
not at all.
A lot of Rocky Top, not much cowbell.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the bigger games this week. Not to say that Tennessee's game is not big. Every game is big when there's a 12-team playoff, but want to talk about Georgia Ole Miss and Bama LSU. Let's start with Georgia Ole Miss. Hot take of the week: Ole Miss wins the game for me.
Not gonna happen, bro.
I think that
I wish
we're gonna see the difference between Jackson Dart and Carson Beck and see who's for real. Right? Jackson Dart is like 4th or 5th in the Heisman right now. Carson Beck is kind of out of the picture. But things have been going pretty well for Georgia, and I'm just doing this play and hot take based on the line that I'm seeing. If this was closer to Georgia -6, I would say Georgia all day. But the fact that it's staying at 2.5, that means something's wrong on my end. So give me Ole Miss at home. Jackson Dart cements himself as, second best quarterback in college football after this to Cam Ward. And I just think that, Georgia's defense is going to be trouble for Ole Miss, but I didn't like what I saw from Georgia on the road versus Bama. Obviously, in the first half, second half, different story. But I just don't. I don't see it here. I think that they used up their one power smash play versus Texas, and maybe they come out a little flat.
Yeah, man. I don't know. For me, I mean, we've been watching this generational run of Georgia over the past few years with Kirby. What typically happens with Georgia in big games, man? I mean, what do we always see?
They smash.
They show up. You know what I'm saying? So to me, like, I feel like Georgia's floor is so much higher than Ole Miss's. Like, I really do. And I cannot trust Lane Kiffin and good old Reb to come out and play well 2 weeks in a row, because notoriously Lane has pissed down his leg in big games and blown it every single time. I mean, dating all the way back to when he was here, the Mount Cody game, against Alabama, right? Lane Kiffin, the next big game he wins will be his first. I just don't see, any type of situation where Ole Miss wins this game. As much as I would like to see them do that, I don't see it. They when it comes to Georgia, they've been perfect. As much as they could be lately. And let's see what they're like 52-0 against all teams not named Alabama for the last few years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, what are we really talking to? I mean, we saw their defense really step up against Texas in that game, and I think it's going to be kind of a continuation of that for this one.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean,
I'm high on Georgia to cover this, not only cover the spread, but kind of blow Ole Miss out.
yeah, honestly, like I watched a bit of the game versus Florida, and I did not see the dominance that we saw in the second half versus Alabama and then the Texas game. So that's my one thing. Is it just that Florida plays these matchups really well, or is it that there's a chink in the armor?
No, I think it goes back to my point, man. Like, if it's not a big game for Georgia, they kind of sleepwalk.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we saw again. You go back to the Texas game, right? Like, I would even argue like the Alabama game was kind of an aberration. Like, I really do. I thought they kind of looked at it as, well, this isn't Nick Saban's Bama, you know. So with Texas, it was like, even Kirby after the game, what did he say? We didn't come here to take pictures. We didn't come here to do all the cool interviews. We came here to whoop ass. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And play ball. And I think that's kind of the thing that Kirby does. When he's trying to get his team up and ready to play these big games, like it's the whole us against the world mentality. I know that we're missing Andrew on the podcast today, but I know he would chime in and be like, don't give me that locker room talk shit. Like he always dismisses that, very, very quickly, because he's like, well, in the landscape of college football, these guys, these athletes, blah, 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 blah. He takes away like the passion a lot in a lot of his arguments. But when it comes to Kirby, he has some way to motivate these guys when it comes to the big games. And like I just read off that stat. Georgia's 52-0 against anybody not named Alabama in the last few years. So there's got to be some type of truth to what I'm trying to lay out there for you guys. So and again, if there's an opportunity for Lane Kiffin to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory, he'll do it every single time.
All right. Speaking of the former Big Bad Wolf, Bama.
They're huffing and puffing. They ain't getting nobody's house down no more, though.
Right. -2.5 at LSU. Funny that these games have the same spread. Like,
yeah, Vegas Illuminati at its. This is like a Vegas masterpiece right here.
Yeah. So
like simp bets galore.
Yeah, like I'm on the other. I'm simping on this game.
You simping on some scissor?
Yeah, I'm simping on some Bama this time. I think that number one, they can't lose, right? They can't lose anymore. So like, it's kind of like the teams with the second loss in this 12-team playoff, like
pucker factor is like big time right now.
I mean, LSU. Probably played a little bit better this season than I would have expected them.
You think so?
Yeah, because
they should have lost to South Carolina. I'll give it to Chase. I know I fuck with Chase, and all my other South Carolina fans out there, but I'll just put it to bed. They should have they should have been beaten by South Carolina. They should have lost to Ole Miss. And then Texas A&M did what they did to them. So,
yeah, I mean, I honestly didn't think my point was I didn't think Nussmeier was as
that guy's ass, bro. He's straight up cheeks, dude.
Yeah, but I thought he was more cheeks than he's actually been playing. So he keeps them in games. I think the biggest
Bro, come on. He keeps what did he do against A&M?
A&M.
No, that guy unraveled. He went out there and threw like 2 pick sixes back to back or some crazy shit like that.
Yeah.
Like 3 straight turnovers. That guy's ass. I'm sorry. He's just horrible. He's horrible. I'll let you continue, but Musburger is.
I'm just saying, like, A&M game was probably the aberration for me because pretty consistently over the rest of the season. He was decent, and I thought he was super trash going into the season. But for me, the biggest enigma of this whole season was Jalen Milroe. Like, he had one half where he played like Lamar Jackson, and then the
You're
rest
talking about
of the,
against Georgia?
yeah, the
Yeah.
first half of Georgia, and then the rest of the season, it's just been
Hey, man.
straight cheeks. So
That's what happens when you get that fucking NCAA 25 fucking magic in your mind, thinking you're a world beater because they've got you overall like 95 and shit. It's almost like the Madden curse. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think that's fair, and yeah, I just don't know. And given the both of these QBs are inconsistent, who do I like better? I like Jalen Milroe a little bit better than Nussmeier, so give me Bama. Your thoughts on that game, Josh?
Ryan Williams, thoughts complete.
He's gonna cook.
He's gonna cook, bro. He's gonna if Texas A&M made LSU look like Swiss cheese, dude. Ryan Williams is gonna make them look like queso cheese. He's gonna cook. He's gonna melt them all the way down. It's gonna be a big game for Milroe and him. It's I know it's not the Saban Bowl anymore, but to your point, I think Alabama is fighting for their lives. They're straight R. Kelly mode right now, dude. They're melting down in the interview room. They're fighting for their lives, bro. And the media's trying to keep them there. They're trying to keep them in the hunt. You know what I'm saying? They're doing everything they can to keep them there. But damn it, the state of Tennessee did everything they could to try to keep them out. So they got to have a big game against the Tigers this weekend. And if there's anybody, head coach wise, it's more fucking milk toast than Lane Kiffin in the SEC. It's Brian Kelly. So mark it down. Bama's going to roll this weekend.
Good point. You brought up that the media is trying to keep Bama in the race. We had the playoff bracket come out for the first time. I'll just go through 1 to 12 here. They got Oregon Ducks number 1, Georgia 2, Miami 3, the Mormons at 4. Love to see it. BYU.
Oh, gotta love the Mormons, man.
And
Zach Wilson's mom.
Yep.
Best mom of all time.
Ohio State at 5, Texas at 6, the state penitentiary at 7. At 8, I got Tennessee, the number 1 Cinderella, I guess, of the year, Indiana at 9. And here's where it gets a little Illuminati.
Yeah, it sure does.
Notre Dame, Alabama, and Boise State. I think this accomplishes a lot of the media narratives. Like, it keeps Notre Dame in, it keeps Alabama in,
bro.
It gets like Ashton Genty in the game at 12.
Well, with Boise, it goes back to when I had to explain to a couple of guys on the podcast back in June how the playoff actually works. Because Roman, the Michigan man, he was, oh, no, 1 through 11. I'm like, or 1 through 12. Like, no, dude, that's not how it works. It's conference champs and power or group of 5, best group of 5. So conference champ. So that's where Boise's coming in. So that's not too Illuminati. It is kind of convenient that their running back is having a astronomical season when it comes to getting a lot of love for the Heisman discussion and getting a lot of yards. I would say Dylan Sampson probably deserves to be in that discussion, if truth be told. But I quit caring about the Heisman Trophy circa 1997. So it's a fake award. It's a media award. But yeah, to your point, when I see the A down there in crimson, and when I see the fighting Irish out there. Love the Catholics, man, but Notre Dame has no business being in the top 10. You lose to Northern Illinois at home, you have no business being in the playoffs. You don't play in a conference. You're an independent. What's their best win? Can you pull up Notre Dame's best win? And I know that it's like Naveen's like this is the worst crap that Josh does to me during the show. He puts me on the spot. I'm sorry for all the listeners. It's like Jamie on Rogan here. Sorry.
No problem.
Well, let's dissect Notre Dame's best win here for a minute, man. Like, good luck finding one.
A&M.
You know, A&M.
It's the first
game of the year.
Yeah,
come on, and let's be honest. A&M is, that's Wegman. That's Connor Wegman. A&M.
Yeah, it's not. It's not the new guy.
No.
New A&M. They're not bad.
Yeah,
I will say
third quarter against LSU forward A&M. They're pretty good until they go to Columbia, South Carolina, and get absolutely smashed by an unranked South Carolina team. So talk to me more about A&M, about how they're world beaters. But yeah, if you're one value win, in your line is
August.
Against A&M, and they barely eked that out, right? It wasn't like was it decisive or was it a one possession?
It was 23-13, but that all happened most of it happened in the fourth quarter. It was a tie game until the fourth.
Yeah. So missed me with all that Notre Dame love, man. Like, it's not 1988 anymore.
Yeah, Rudy's not coming down the pipe,
Yeah, Rudy's not walking through the door. I just, what is it? Let's go back to Notre Dame real quick. You still got the tab up?
Yeah.
Well, let's see their remaining schedule. Let's see who they got. Is anybody with a pulse on their schedule outside of Army?
Army, USC, Virginia, Florida State.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean they conveniently pick these matchups. Like, I know they have some traditional matchups, like they play USC every year.
But we know USC is horrible.
They never play these elite teams. One thing I'll say for Alabama, Tennessee, Georgia, they got to play someone every year.
Yeah,
these guys don't have to play somebody.
No.
Right? Even Ohio State, right? They got to play Michigan. They got to play Penn State. At least some challenging things on the schedule. One thing I don't like is if you're going to be independent, like, play Georgia like once in like 3 years.
They have. To be fair to them, they did a home and home series with Georgia. I think it was 17, 18 or 18, 19, somewhere around there. So they did home and home with Georgia. They used to do a home and home with us pretty consistently. But I've not seen Notre Dame have a home and home with somebody with a pulse in about 5 or 6 years.
Right. So I want to go back here. One thing I'll say about this is it's got the usual suspects.
It does.
Of our childhood, at least. It's got everybody. And that's probably what they were like hoping for is, okay, let's get Texas back in the game.
Miami, look at Miami, man. Looks like Ken Dorsey is out there slinging the rock, dude.
We got like traditional SEC teams, right? We got Tennessee,
Georgia, Bama,
right? And then we got some traditional Big Ten as well. Ohio State,
Penn State,
and then you got like teams nobody thought about.
Rando, Indiana,
Indiana, and BYU, and I guess Boise was always there, but I do.
What about Oregon, man? That's kind of crazy. Them being number one team in the country, right?
Oregon has one of the better wins of the season, beating Ohio State by 1. And let me actually do what we just did for Notre Dame with Oregon, because I do want to see what's happening.
Good old Land Danning out there,
Yep.
Rutgers.
What do you got next?
Not Rutgers. It's Washington, Wisconsin, and Maryland.
Yeah, Maryland, Wisconsin, and Washington. I think you can chalk that up.
Chalk those all up for dubs.
So it's likely that it's going to be Oregon in the Big Ten championship, probably versus Ohio
Ohio
State.
State, round 2. That's right.
So yeah, that'll be one of the bigger games, and I think they're basically guaranteed this top 4.
Yeah, it's basically a lock for them.
Similar to Miami, like we had a down year in Clemson, and everybody else kind of sucks in the ACC, so it doesn't really matter. I will say Miami somehow covered the 20 points last week. We'll get into this right after this, but I had Duke plus 20. They were up in the third quarter.
Duke, man, they were playing lights out there for a minute. Then they injured one of Miami's players, and then after that, it was like it was donezo.
Bloodbath. I thought it was good. I was like, all right, should I just throw like, $100 on this money line, Duke money line? And it was looking good for really.
Oh yeah, it was. Quarters. It was in the crock pot. I mean, you were cooking, dog, for sure. Like I thought you were gonna rein it in.
Then I got hit with Cam Ward, smacked me. So yeah, I mean, obviously we've been going through the playoff simulator for the past 2 weeks, and since we actually have a bracket now, we'll stick to going through the bracket. But I mean, this is really just what happens versus LSU is a huge game. What happens Ole Miss Georgia is a huge game, and then the following week Georgia versus Tennessee is a huge game. So, I think those are the 3 remaining games in SEC play, other than obviously like the traditional matchups near Thanksgiving, that are going to mean something for this playoff seeding. Oregon, no challenge left. I think they're locked up. BYU is just running through the the Big 12. I do want to note that the reason why BYU is 4 is they switched to the Big 12 and they're handling it like champions.
They're going to be conference champions.
Maybe Frank's Colorado will see them in the championship for maximum drama.
So that would be max drama if Colorado fucked around, beat BYU in the conference championship, and then they're in the playoffs. Like that. That's the CFP's wet fucking dream for ratings.
Oh yeah. And I think it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. Like Big 12, really bad.
Right? Do you think BYU would still get an at-large if they lost the conference championship game?
No.
Yeah, you think they're donezo at that point? They don't kick out Indiana potentially?
No, they'll keep Indiana in. And the number one thing is, as we've been saying, is they're going to protect Notre Dame and they're going to protect Bama. So like if that happens, BYU on the chopping block versus Bama on the chopping block. You know how.
Oh yeah, ratings, man. It's all about the money.
Yeah, but I mean, as this is a pretty sick 12 teams. Like I would not be pissed off with this 12 teams.
Well, let me ask you this: would you be excited if Tennessee hosted a first round playoff game, maybe against like a Notre Dame? Would that be like all time? Like I'm piling in the money. I'm taking the trip to Knoxville. I'm going to the playoff game.
Yeah, I'm also booking the same Airbnb because I know I need to walk.
Good. It was nice. It was really nice.
Yeah, I know I need to walk to the stadium. Like I know I won't. Number 2 things still I know about Tennessee: great atmosphere, but no fucking internet or self-service after the game. So I need to be able to.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you got to think about it, man. It just wrecks the infrastructure, man. You bring in a couple, 100,000+ more people.
Yeah,
it's just tough. It's just tough.
It's 100,000 people at the game, and I think it's about like maybe another 100 outside the game, right? So it's the population times like 4 or 5 of Knoxville. So I mean, not anybody's fault, but just be prepared, I would say that I would go to this game. If Tennessee hosts the game, I'm no problem going, especially versus
like a Notre Dame or something like that. Yeah, dude, you gotta do it, right? We got to do it. Are we signing up for that? We host some playoff. So. I think we're signing up for it.
I think so. I don't know about going to a foreign opponent. Like let's say.
What about Rose Bowl? If they win first round and then go to Rose Bowl, what do you think about Rose Bowl?
Rose Bowl is my ultimate, like one of my ultimate bucket list places.
I mean, like look at the bracket right now, man. You know, Indiana, Tennessee winner goes to the Rose Bowl against Oregon.
I think that's a sick game to go to. So yeah, I mean, he's
gonna be broke.
I mean,
I gotta refinance my house. I gotta do it.
We gotta just bet our way into it, right?
Like, yeah, fair enough.
Start with $100 in the playoffs, and like
gotta roll it. That's right.
By the championship, we have $10K on the line. You know, like
gotta Rick roll this whole thing into the going to the Rose Bowl. Yeah.
My ideal situation is we go on the road and then we make the Rose Bowl. Like, because like realistically, I'm not gonna go travel back-to-back weeks with Tennessee. Like, hype will put me on the plane. I don't know if I can afford it on Delta. You know? Put me on the damn plane.
Be on Spirit Airlines.
I'll be yeah. I need I don't know how you go on all these flights, but like it's just tough. Like Delta, United, like you got to figure something out. Let me follow the team.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I wanted to get to some of the winners and losers of last week. I think you highlighted it, Josh. A&M. I just want to shout out Chase again because
calm down with the shout outs, okay? Calm down.
It was a
we're gonna have that idiot back on the show talking about how he went to elementary school with all this, the South Carolina players like first cousins twice removed and how they know how great they are.
He uses the same toothpaste as a head coach. Like that's his thing.
Him and Shane Beamer wear the same socks. Yeah, you know what I mean?
But it like no bullshit. It was a fucking smash. Like it was not even close. If you beat A&M, number 10 ranked at home by 24 points, like you deserve it, Chase. Like,
I've always said, man, you just don't walk into Willie B in November, right? And a top 10 ranked team. You don't just walk in there and guarantee a dub. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
that place was frothing at the mouth. They had the sandstorm going. They had the daggone the towels waving around their head and shit. I mean, they were juiced up. They were ready to go. They wanted that one.
Yeah. And I think that that was the major upset. Obviously, like I'll get into it in their next segment, but Auburn was looking to correct their season and they ran into
bro. Buzz off.
They ran into the hottest team in the SEC, fucking Vandy. So insane run that Pavia's on. I just want to shout him out. Like I would say that those are the teams that I didn't expect to be entertaining this year. South Carolina and Vandy that always have entertaining games.
But they play each other this week, right?
Oh yeah. I think that's a good foreshadowing for our best bets. I think that we will start off with I'll kind of recap everybody else's week 10, and then you can go through what happened to you, Josh. Andy's starting to lose here, guys. He was a 70% guy. Now he's at 58. He went 3-6. He won on Ohio State. He won on Florida. He won on South Carolina. But he lost on Arkansas. He lost on Tennessee. He lost on VTech, Memphis, and Army. For me, I went 3-6 and pushed, but I won my Vanderbilt money line. So I actually won like 2.25 units here. So that's what happens. Like you can go 3-6, but actually win almost 4.5 units if you go money line. So I will tell the audience here, don't be afraid to drop drop your nuts on the table once in a while. Like, you could play these spreads, but how do you get back to even? You got to hit some of these things. I'm almost at even, 48% right now. I lost on Pitt, Army, A&M, Georgia, Duke, and Penn State. Weird Penn State game. Weird Duke game. A&M and Army and Pitt were all terrible picks. Georgia almost had it at the end, but in the end lost. Indiana's a wagon. Like, they cover spreads. I can't believe I'm
Go ahead
saying
and
that.
hitch up to Indiana, huh?
Yep. Tulane, wagon. Vanderbilt, mega wagon. And obviously lost or pushed on Virginia Tech. Frank, he went 2-2. Army and Duke lost. Ohio State and Indiana wagons won. And Josh, you had 2 picks here. I'll let you talk through them.
Yeah, man. Florida, I just knew Sunbelt Billy. He was in the R. Kelly situation too, fighting for his life, and the Gators came out and they played a little bit. I mean, even Steve Strickland, the AD down at Florida, came out this week with the dreaded vote of confidence, saying that we're going to keep Billy, through the next season. So he's got one more year at least at Florida, which we got to go down there and beat those bums next year, man. Like it's time. You know what I mean? Like we got to go down there. We got to let them know, like, hey, new regime, like. We're back in charge here in the SEC. So, but I knew, kind of back to my point with Georgia in games that aren't like a big game, they kind of slapwalk and until like the end of the game where they injured Florida's quarterback, DJ Lagway went out with a hamstring.
Yeah.
Until they brought that kid from Harvard in the game.
Mm-hmm.
It was very competitive. It was a close game, and then it just kind of went off the rails there at the end, but still covered. And then Tennessee, man, we just couldn't get we couldn't get the Wildcats wrangled. Dropped 3 touchdowns, so
yeah,
I still felt a little validated. But hey, man, it is what it is. Snap and clear. I'm still at 53% on the year. So anything above 500, that's good stuff.
All right, I'll go through my picks. Miami minus 11. I think this is a bounce back game for Miami. If they played like they did in the fourth quarter, they might win the Natty. So,
yeah, that's true.
So North Texas +4. I think they're playing Army. Not trusting. I used to be big on the service academies, but this is the crunch time for them, and this is usually when they punt. I know it's tough to say it to the face of an
Come
Army
on, man.
guy.
Go Army, bro. Go Army, man. Let's go.
Go Army in real life, but versus the spread this week, fading them.
You're fading them, huh?
Clemson -6. I think that's a bounce back. Tennessee -24.5. Like, if we don't cover this game,
we're cooked.
Big trouble.
Right? We're probably gonna, if we don't cover against them, we're probably losing against Georgia and Vanderbilt, right?
Yeah. So Bama -2.5. Again, we talked about it. I'm simping for Bama. They're on the wall, ready to be executed by a firing squad. So they need this. Ole Miss, I just don't trust this line. This is, again, me being a veteran sports bettor here. Like if you show me something under 3 points here, I'm just gonna take it. Just doesn't look right. Penn State -13.5, BYU -3, the Vandy Boys +5.5, and USF +3.5. Those are my picks. Josh.
Yeah, so again, Tennessee -24.5. I gotta have the confidence here. Prove me right, Josh Heupel, please. Nico, offense, let's do it. Vandy, hey man, +5.5 against the Gamecocks. Going to be I think a big emotional letdown from South Carolina from last week's game to this week, and then I just don't think they're prepared to play Pavia, Georgia, getting it done. Big time. Florida, they're covering +22.5. USF, my boy, he had ice in his veins in that post game handshake last week with Tom Herman.
Coach,
you see that?
Yeah,
you see that? So give me USF plus 3.5. LSU, I know I shit all over them in my monologue earlier. So I am kind of fading myself here. I'm going to go plus 2.5 on them because I'm just trying to shake something up here, man. My gut's telling me how it's going to go because Brian Kelly is who he is, but I think he's going to pull a horseshoe out of his ass this week, and I think LSU, plus 2.5. Miami, they're a machine right now. Stay out of their way. That's a buzzsaw. Give me them minus 10.5. So we'll see how this all shakes out. And yeah, man, it's shout out to Alex Golish, man. I want to go back to him, man. That handshake, dude. He basically called Tom Herman a bitch straight to his face and just walked off. Yeah, he hit him with that big high grip too.
It's bad when you start high.
Yeah,
when you start high, it's gonna be bad.
Had the jaw and the chin stuck out like, yeah, I just owned you. I remember you going for 2 when you were up 1 million points last year, bro. I remember, because he called his shot last year, man. He was like, yeah. I won't forget about this. We'll get it. We'll run it back next year, and he did. And man, Tom Herman, what a fall from grace, man. Houston to Texas, and now he's down at FAU, Lane Kiffin's old job, and the Owls struggling, getting smashed by the Bulls. So shout out my man AG. Way to swing it there at the post game handshake.
All right, the last topic of the week. We got a new sport back, guys, or let's say an old sport. Tennessee basketball back. Some of our
we back, baby. We back.
Some of our favorite characters from the beginning of this podcast. If you remember, Rick Barnes, Zakai
Ziegler,
Meshack,
Cade Phillips, Jordan Gainey, Meshack. Yeah, man. All JP Estrella. We're big JP Estrella guys on this show. Shout out to my man JP.
Yep.
Go ahead and hold him up. Hold him up, Naveen. Go ahead. Big JP guy. Big dub.
Yeah, I mean, this honestly is I know Tennessee is a football state, football school, but this is my passion. I'm gonna be hooked on this shit till March, early April, for the championship.
We got Deacon Rick. Year 10, man. Year 10. Can't believe he's been there 10 seasons, man. It feels like yesterday. We got him from TEX.
Yep. Emperor Palpatine is now in a new home.
That's right.
in Fayetteville. What's the Kentucky Pope?
No, the Pope. No hope Pope is up in Kentucky.
No hope Pope.
Pope.
He's in Kentucky. So I think this year's SEC is going to be interesting. Honestly, if you had to tell me, like, are we going to be better than last year? Probably not. I mean, there's no Dalton to connect. There's no Rudy walking in from Notre Dame.
There's no Dalton connect. He's beating Memphis out there in LA. Yeah, he's doing the thing with the Lake Show now, man.
Yeah, one thing I will say is there's no more fucking Zach Edey. Fuck that guy. He's in Memphis.
Yeah, he got what he deserved, man. He's in Memphis. He's rotten. It was funny to see Rick at the game, man. A couple nights ago, he went there and gave Dalton his SEC championship ring. So that was really cool to see.
But yeah, like, I think this is a very cool season.
Man, I know the Lakers lost. I know it was like 131 to 114, but Dalton got a start. It is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's just great to see basketball at high levels back. For my Timberwolves, we got Rob Dillingham getting ejected for no reason.
Fucking Rob Dillingham. That was like your boy last year, man. That was your boy.
Edwards is starting a new beef with Tatum. Love it. Honestly, love it. Like Edwards is my guy. Good to see that. And I think what's cool about college basketball is they start off with bangers. Tennessee is playing Louisville. Arkansas is playing Baylor. Houston, Auburn, all on Saturday. And tonight, we got North Carolina versus Kansas. Like they are starting off
It's
with
a cool game, man. Big games.
big games. Somehow this
we play Louisville tomorrow, I think, right?
Yeah, you guys. Tennessee plays Louisville tomorrow. I almost said you guys because I'm back in my Tar Heels. I'm back in Cardballs.
Anyway, not Vol Hill Naveen already showing up, man. It's too early. You're just over here singing. Oh yeah, Tennessee, man. We're back. It's basketball season.
Who is our new like transfer guy?
Chaz Lanier.
Chaz Lanier. Okay.
Yeah. Chaz Lanier. You got Igor Milicic. Rick Barnes really likes those Eastern European guys, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Felix Okpara, he came in from Ohio State.
Okay.
Yeah, Dubar, like, you know, I don't know what his deal is, man. He hasn't played. He might be injured still.
He said, I read the scouting report and he says he's out for personal reasons. Honestly, that's never good. If it's legitimate, it's not good.
I remember during the summer when I took the kids to basketball camp, I think his father passed away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was at Father's Day, so it was a really, really bad time. You know, for all that to go down. I mean, it's never a good time to lose your dad, but weekend of Father's Day had to be rough. So
yeah, we'll see what we can find from Tennessee this year. Both sports, right? Now we've won the baseball national championship, so we have the natty sauce with us.
We do, man. We do. Right? It's time.
So we're at the elite levels in all three major sports. We should be going deep. We should be going at least the playoffs in college football. Hopefully, we can make a deep run in March Madness. And I mean, we love to chant it, but it's great to be a Tennessee Vol right now.
It is.
In general,
it really is.
So,
one thing that does concern me about this season so far is, it's your point about no Dalton Connect, man. I watched us against Indiana in basketball, and then I watched us the other night against Gardner Webb. We don't have that. We don't have that elite scorer right now. I mean, if you look at it. Rick Ball, you know, starting early this season, man, it's, you know, defense, but, you know, we've got Jordan Gainey with 16, Chaz Lanier 18, Meshack 10, Zakai with 13. Then you got Igor with 8, Felix Okpara 2, Cade Phillips 7, Cameron Carr 2, and JP Estrella 4. I know that Rick likes to likes to have a deep rotation of players, but man, can we get a big man that can just, like Felix Okpara, you know, our center dude, he's got to put up more than 2 fucking points. It's almost like Jonas Adu, like 2.0. You know what I'm saying? A little bit more physical on the defensive end, but scoring, come on, man. And that's been notorious for Rick Barnes teams. Like our post presence outside of Grant Williams, trash. And I'd argue Grant Williams isn't even a true center.
I mean, yeah, he's like 6'6". So I think honestly, like the same keys to victory that we were harping on when we created the show, 3 guys above 15 points.
Yeah.
And rebound and play defense. That's gonna be the same.
And we only had 2 guys above 15 points. Right. I mean, we blew them out, you know, 80-64, but that's Gardner Webb. That's not going to get it done against, you know, the Alabamas in the Floridas, because I think Florida is going to be a good team in the SEC this year in basketball. So
we did not cover the spread though, Josh.
I know. So what is the golden rule about elite teams?
Good teams win, great teams cover.
That's right. So
yeah, we'll leave it off at that for this week. We covered Tennessee football, Tennessee basketball. We took a look at a little bit of the playoffs. We gave you our best bets. And honestly, guys, we're just very excited for both of these seasons to be going on, and specifically, we're in 100% crunch time in college football. So by next week, our playoff picture will be different, and hopefully, we'll be inching closer to deep run in the playoffs. So for myself and for Josh, thank you for listening. Go Vols.
GBO.